Okay, so I'm just editing the video you're just about to watch, and I think it's important to note that before I even started filming the video, when I was just doing the research, weird things were happening around the house. Like the dog kept barking, and literally nothing was there, and I was cold, I was shaking, I had a headache, and I felt really nauseous while researching the video. Now I'm editing the video, and again the dog kept barking. She's calmed down now, she's chilled out, but the dog kept barking at this wall, and she's done it before, but this painting, for some reason, she barks at. I don't know. I'm not saying that that's haunted, that's paranormal, you know, that she's barking. It honestly could be anything, but it's just weird. And the TV had just turned on its own. There's a button that you have to press to turn the TV on here, so you actually have to press that button in for it to actually turn on. I've just turned it on to show you. Okay, I was like, why is it not turning on? So yeah, you actually have to press this button for it to turn on and off. That just turned on all by itself, which it's happened before. So my phone just turned off on its own after, like, I was talking about that. So I don't know. I'm not saying any of this is paranormal. I'm just saying it's a bit odd that this is happening while I'm currently editing a video about a haunted doll. So again, it could be nothing, but I just thought it was something to note while I was editing this video. If anything else happens, then I'll let you know, but fingers crossed nothing else happens. Hey, are you just chilling? There's no way this doll could actually be leaving these notes. Obviously not a human, so why would there be blood coming out of Annabelle? Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. My name is Eleanor, and today I thought we would try something new. I want to call this series Freaky Friday, so every few Fridays I will post a video like this. It won't be every Friday, but every couple of Fridays, as a bonus video that week. So as you can see, I don't have any makeup on, and the reason being is because I thought it would be fun to do my makeup while talking about these creepy stories. As you can see from the title of the video, today we are talking about Annabelle. So a lot of you will probably have heard of the story of Annabelle, which is a film. It was created in 2014. However, the story is actually based on a true story that actually happened back in 1970. First of all, the difference between the real Annabelle and the Annabelle within the film is that the Annabelle in the film was portrayed as a porcelain doll. However, the real Annabelle was actually a Raggedy Ann doll, which was given to a woman called Donna on her 28th birthday, I believe, by her mother. Donna was a student nurse, and she lived in a flat with her roommate called Angie. If you are familiar with the paranormal, you will probably have heard of the names Ed and Lorraine Warren. Now, they are the people who basically saved Donna and her roommate Angie, and actually their other friend called Lou. Ed and Lorraine Warren have a lot of different stories, and I could probably do a video on them, their life, and more about the stories that they have. Today we are just talking about Annabelle and the story of how they became in possession of the Annabelle doll, which currently resides in their occult museum. After Donna's mum gave Donna the doll, Donna and her roommate Angie started to experience weird things surrounding this doll. So at first it would start as small movements from the doll. So Angie and Donna would set the doll, let's say, on the bed, and it would change position of how it was sitting. So let's say it had its legs out, it might then cross its legs. Angie and Donna brushed off the fact that this doll was moving, as they thought it was nothing, that they were just going a bit crazy. When things started to progress, then they started to think that maybe it is a spirit kind of playing around with the doll and tormenting them. One thing that is similar between the movie and the real life Annabelle is that both were leaving notes around the house. So Donna and Angie would go to work, and when they came home they would see a note in their apartment. These notes that were being left would say things like "help me, help Lou," who is one of Donna and Angie's friends. And Lou did not like this doll at all. As any normal person would probably think, they just thought that they were being pranked by somebody, and there's no way this doll could actually be leaving these notes. They just believed that, yeah, they were being pranked or someone was messing with them. After a while this was going on, Donna and Angie went out for a day. I don't know what they were doing. They might have gone to work, they might have just gone out, I'm not sure. And when they returned home, they found Annabelle sat on Donna's bed with blood on her hands, and the blood was seemingly coming out of Annabelle, which very strange considering Annabelle is meant to be a Raggedy Ann doll and obviously not a human, so why would there be blood coming out of Annabelle? And they ended up calling a psychic to come to their apartment and do a reading on the doll. When this psychic arrived, they said that the doll was being possessed by a little girl, and this little girl wanted to stay with Angie and Donna because she liked Angie and Donna and she felt safe at their apartment. The psychic said this little girl was called Annabelle Higgins, and she wanted to stay in the doll, and she asked permission if she could go into the doll to stay with Angie and Donna so that she felt safe and loved. Angie and Donna agreed, and so this spirit, Annabelle Higgins, went into the doll and carried on living in their apartment with them. However, things started to get worse after that happened. One thing I do want to say is that demons can actually pretend to be children's spirits to gain the trust of whoever they're trying to gain the trust of, because automatically we just think a child spirit's not going to harm us, which is scary considering that these demons can actually pretend to be a child. Things were getting worse, and Lou had started having these really crazy dreams about Annabelle. So in his dreams, Annabelle would be crawling up him, up his chest, and would strangle him, and he would wake up in the night short of breath, as if he was actually being strangled. Another story which kind of made them realise that this was not right and something needed to happen was Donna and Lou were in their apartment, in Donna and Angie's apartment, and they heard shuffling and the sound of something moving in Donna's bedroom. Of course, this scared them, and Lou went up to the bedroom to see if he could listen in and see if he could figure out what was making that noise. He then went on in to investigate the room, and he found that the Annabelle doll was no longer on the bed where Donna said she had previously put it, and it was now in the corner of her bedroom. This completely freaked them out, and Donna was like, "This is enough. we need to do something. So as Lou was walking towards Annabelle, he started to feel a burning sensation and a pain on his chest. And when he looked, he had scratch marks on his chest. And he believed that it was Annabelle who created these scratch marks. Of course, this was the final straw, and they ended up calling a priest to the apartment. That priest ended up putting them in touch with Ed and Lorraine Warren, who then went to investigate the apartment and this doll. So when Ed and Lorraine Warren arrived to the apartment, they immediately knew that this was not a spirit of a child called Annabelle Higgins. They knew it was actually a demon, and they believed that the demon was using the doll as a vessel, and the real reason the doll wanted to stay, they believed, was so that it could have Donna's soul. So an exorcism took place in the apartment, and then Ed and Lorraine Warren removed the doll from the apartment and actually took it with them. Unfortunately, on the way back to Ed and Lorraine's museum, the car started to act up, and Ed believed that he would have got in an accident if he had actually gone a busier route where there were more cars, instead of going the route he did, which was more of a back road route to the occult museum, so that he didn't see as many cars. They didn't immediately put Annabelle in a glass case. They actually left Annabelle out of a case, and of course Annabelle started to do her old tricks and move around. They would often find blood on her hands again, and that is when they decided to put her in this case so that she couldn't move around and be a potential harm to anyone. This glass case that Annabelle is in says positively do not open, and they actually had a priest come and do a blessing on the doll. However, the priest actually taunted the doll and ended up in a car accident after leaving Ed and Lorraine Warren's museum. It's said that Annabelle will bang on the glass case and also makes growling noises while in the case. They often have priests to bless the doll, and they tell everyone who visits Annabelle and the museum not to taunt her, because she end up putting them in hospital. Sometimes these guests do not listen and will say things like, "You're just a doll, you're not going to do anything to me," and on the way home from the museum they end up in a car accident. And this happened to a young couple who went and taunted the doll, and unfortunately the guy passed away in a motorcycle accident, and his girlfriend ended up seriously injured and in hospital. Ed passed away in 2006 and left the museum to Lorraine Warren. However, unfortunately Lorraine Warren passed away in 2019, and the museum is now owned by their son-in-law, Tony. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. Tony Spera. I'm going to put his name at the bottom or somewhere on the screen so you can see. And he owns all of the artifacts within the museum. Of course, the real story of Annabelle is different to the movie. Obviously, the movie was played up a bit more to be more dramatic and make it seem scarier. Dolls are one of my biggest fears. They really scare me, mainly for this reason. However, I also find it very interesting that these dolls are able to basically come to life, and these people have so many interesting stories. That being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of this series. I know there's only one episode so far, but let me know if you enjoy it, and also let me know if you've got any stories you'd like me to cover during this series. At first I was just going to do movies about horror films, but anything horror related I think I will cover. I hope to see you all soon. Bye!